Casual Movie Club, episode number 33. We are thrilled to have you here, and by we, I mean me, your good friend John, and my good friend Brian. How are you, good? How are you, good buddy?
I'm good. What's happening?
I am doing well, and let me tell you, tonight's movie was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it. Tonight's movie was a movie called Inside Man.
Yes.
A Spike Lee joint.
A Spike Lee joint, 2006, starring Denzel, starring Clive Owen.
Is this our first Denzel movie?
I think it is.
It might very well be our first Denzel movie. Hold on, I'm going to do a quick skim of the leaderboard.
Quick skim.
He definitely was not in The Wraith.
No.
He was not in Footloose.
No, not at all.
Let's see. He was not in The Wrestler or Galaxy Quest.
Nope.
So yes, this is Denzel Washington's first entry into the Casual Movie Club. So welcome, Denzel.
Welcome to the club, Denzel.
Welcome to the club, Denzel.
What an unusual first movie for him to have on our list.
Yeah, I agree, because he's got so many movies that he's so well known for, like Philadelphia. And let's see, I almost said Hunt for Red October. He wasn't in that, but Crimson Tide. I was confusing those two, but Crimson Tide is another incredible movie that he's in.
He was in Philadelphia?
He was the lawyer.
Oh, man.
Tom Hanks was the patient.
Yeah.
And Denzel was the author. The lawyer.
It's been so long since I've seen Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That would be a great movie to do.
It would. It would. That's an incredible movie.
Yeah. Man on Fire.
Yep. That's a great movie too.
Deja Vu.
Yep. That's the movie I'm thinking of. Yeah, Deja Vu is really good. God, he's been
are you thinking of the train movie?
Unstoppable.
Taking of Pelham 123.
Yep, he's in that.
Yes.
There's 3 versions of that movie.
I know.
There was a TV version. There was the movie with Walter Matthau from many years ago, and then there's the one with Denzel Washington and John Travolta.
John Travolta is the bad guy. Mm-hmm. That was when...
Honestly, I could have seen Nick Cage playing that role.
I could... Get out of my head. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first movie that I felt like John Travolta was kind of like teetering on the, oh man, John Travolta, you do bad movies? No, Taking a Pelham 123 wasn't bad. I thought that...
It was not his best movie.
No, I thought that movie was beneath, that performance was beneath John Travolta.
What did you think of Face Off?
I love Face Off.
We got to do that one.
Bad movie. It's an objectively bad movie
and bad premise.
But I love it.
Yeah.
But it's also good at the same time.
Agreed.
I would love to do that movie.
Yeah, so that's one for the list for sure. Now, let's talk about Inside Man.
Yeah, let's talk about the movie we came here to talk about.
Exactly, because we're not exactly doing a Casual Movie Club episode about other movies besides the one we did. That would just be pointless. But we did Inside Man. So like you said, it's from 2006, and it's a very interesting premise. And I was also kind of surprised that it only got on IMDb 7.6 out of 10, 314,885 ratings, but it was rated fairly low on IMDb. What do you think that's appropriate for what it was? I mean, I feel like it would have been at least an 8.
No, I think it's appropriate. I do. Now, let me start off by saying I like this movie. Mm-hmm. However, I've only seen it a couple of times. Like, at most, this is my 3rd or 4th viewing that we just had.
Right.
And I gotta say, as much as I like this movie, the rating is probably very appropriate. At 7.8? 7.6. 7.6.
Yeah.
I would probably drop it down to a 7 even.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've definitely got some notes here, and mine are somewhat specific to our numbers, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Yeah. But let me ask you, what's your reasoning for kind of putting it lower than where kind of IMDb has it? I mean, it sounds like there's some things about it that really kind of resonated strongly that you didn't like.
The performances were decent. I didn't, besides Denzel, and by the way, Clive Owen, I love Clive Owen.
Yes.
Clive Owen is the man. I love The Croupier. I love Children of Men. I love Shoot 'Em Up. I love Clive Owen.
Wasn't he also in law-abiding citizen, or was that somebody else?
You're thinking of, I know who you're talking, Gerard Butler.
Because he's awesome, too.
Gerard Butler is great. I love that guy. There's a ton of movies by him that I'm just astonished that he would pick them to do, because they're just bad movies.
Yeah.
But I could talk about Gerard Butler all day. But the performances were fine. Denzel and Jodie Foster, maybe Chris Plummer also had great standout performances.
Yeah.
Clive Owen, as much as I love the guy, didn't really dazzle me.
Really?
Didn't dazzle me. And we can get into that.
Yeah, well, see, because I disagree. Because I really liked how he played the role, because he wasn't your typical bank robber. He wasn't just like, oh, everybody stick your hands up in the air, this is a robbery, blah, blah, blah. He was a professional. He was calm, cool, and collected, and in a way that can almost be scary in and of itself. But I really liked how he played the role.
I didn't get enough of him to think that the role warranted any deeper meaning. Now, granted,
even warranting someone of his caliber in the role.
There's not a lot of exactly. Well, there's not a lot of backstory. We don't know the planning that goes into this. We don't know why that they chose this guy. We didn't know why they're doing. It's obvious the reasons that they're doing what they're doing is because of the bank. Chris Plummer, the bank manager, he's a Nazi sympathizer and blah blah blah. But we just didn't get enough character development for Clive for Clive Owen. His accomplices. I understand that we didn't get that much backstory for them.
We didn't really need it.
We didn't need it, but I felt we needed more for the Clive Owen character.
Yeah, and on that same line, I would have liked to have known why he was robbing the bank and why he was after these certain things. Because the whole entire premise of the movie was basically he's executing this, as he says, this perfect bank robbery. Why?
Well, it is the why is because the Chris Plummer, the bank manager, is a Nazi sympathizer. He is he got his fortune on the backs of the Jews that were shipped away to concentration camps. The Nazis paid him to help them, and that's how he amassed his fortune, and he benefited from that, and that's morally not right.
Right, but how did, and maybe this might have been said in the movie and I might have missed it, but how did Clive Owen learn this? Or
they didn't say.
How did he know to pick Christopher Plummer's character to target in this?
They did not say. Now, that's a testament because there was a few opportunities for him to divulge that information. The conversation with the detective, Denzel Washington, the conversation with Jodie Foster, the fixer. There was a few times where he could have divulged this information, but I mean, you're right. He's the consummate professional. He didn't give anything away. Now, I respect that. As a movie watcher, like I respect that professionalism. I respect that iron resolve to just see the plan to afford no matter what comes at you.
Right.
I respect that, but it doesn't make for a good movie viewing experience because you leave out parts of the story that would be interesting. Now,
crucial.
Crucial, but also on the other side of that coin, if they did do that, if they did allow Clive Owen to say how he come across this information, how he knows this, why he picked this guy, that would be a sign of weakness, and that would take away from the mystique of the character.
How would it be weak, though?
Because he's able to be manipulated or socially engineered into divulging the information that he knows. And he didn't give that up to Jodie Foster. He didn't give up to the police, to Denzel, to anybody.
Yeah. I can see it from both sides.
Yeah, I can see it from both sides also, but the side that I respect the most, again, makes for a poorer movie going experience.
Yeah, and based on something else that I think is one of my biggest downsides of this movie, and it's basically revolving around Jodie Foster's character. I cannot stand her character.
You can't stand her character?
I can't stand her.
Oh, the smarmy Ivy League smartest person in the room.
I can't stand her condescension.
Oh, I love it.
I can't stand her arrogance. And also, who the fuck is she? Is she mafia? Like, who the hell is... Because that was a huge thing that I hate about this movie.
You know?
Is you don't know who the fuck she is. She just shows up on screen. She's, talking about, helping somebody buy property, and she's helping somebody with visiting the city. Mm-hmm. Who the fuck is she? Is she like a tour guide? Who the fuck is she?
Well, they gave up a little bit in her first scene when she was doing like the business deal with the one dude in that office.
Right.
It was a real estate deal that she was helping that guy out with. But
but they didn't do any sort of exposition as to who she is. She's just this lady that shows up and has some kind of clout with the mayor. And by the way, the mayor was a horrible casting choice.
Yeah.
Did not believe him as being the mayor of New York City at all.
He was
not at all.
He wasn't even, if he was supposed to be Rudy Giuliani, he wasn't even close.
No, and I mean, honestly, I could see him, like, I could imagine him doing, classical theater or something. Like, he just didn't look to me like a New York mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, so thinking of taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, the one with Denzel in it, freaking James Gandolfini was the mayor. He was a hell of a lot more believable as the mayor of New York.
Yeah, I mean, Gandolfini was Tony Soprano, and that's New Jersey, New York kind of Italian-esque kind of. Right. That's quintessential New York.
Right. So why did they cast somebody? I mean, like I looked the guy up who plays the mayor. I looked him up on IMDb. He's like of German descent.
Well, yeah.
And no disrespect. Anyone from any descent can be mayor of New York, whatever. But I did not. I just felt like it was such an outlier casting choice to put this guy in there. And I really didn't. I thought his acting left a lot to be desired, especially when you first see the mayor and Jodie Foster goes to see him, and he looks at her and delivers that line, "You're a magnificent cunt."
Yeah,
that is the most out of place line I have ever fucking seen.
As soon as they were behind closed doors, he just drops all mayoral pretense and starts cursing at her, and it did feel awkward, stilted.
It was so awkward.
Like he wasn't used to cursing.
Right.
He felt like a Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, a Rudy Giuliani surrogate, and I see where he was going, but
even Rudy Giuliani was a hell of a lot more confident. I mean, I don't know Rudy Giuliani personally, but I mean, I grew up in New Jersey. I've seen him on TV a number of times. The guy's got confidence. If you're going to be mayor of a city, you got to have some confidence, especially a city like New York.
Yeah, this mayor didn't have that.
This mayor sucked.
So, but besides we were going down the path of shitting on the movie. So I would rate the movie about 7.5 IMDb.
Yeah.
This was probably going to give away some of my number choices, but you said that you were surprised it was a little low. Like, what do you like about the movie? Where would you rate it? Where would you expect your IMDb rating to be, and why?
I mean, the acting from a lot of the other people, like I really liked Willem Dafoe's character. Mm-hmm. And one of the notes I put down was that I really like seeing Willem Dafoe in a non-psychopathic character.
Yeah.
I liked seeing Willem Dafoe playing a little more of a straight ahead, cop, and he pulled it off. I really liked Willem Dafoe's character. I liked the chemistry between Denzel Washington and I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm not even going to say it, but his partner. The chemistry between the two of them was really good. I thought that the acting was very good. They cast the movie well, apart from the damn mayor, but they cast the movie fairly well. So I would have elevated that a little bit higher. I liked, and again, we're going to get into more of this with the numbers, but I liked the creative shot placement and the creative, camera angles and that sort of thing. Like I really liked the visual presentation of it. I just would have thought it would be kind of like a solid 8.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's Spike Lee, and Spike Lee is known for certain types of camera angles, certain types of camera shots. a certain structure of dialogue, even. For me, the movie drug on. It drug on, and I understand that that was one of the points of the film, is that the robbers were stalling for time. But we were spending so much time with the police. They're
making the viewers stall time to get through the whole movie.
I understand. Like, we were spending so much time with the police and them going through every single detail. It felt like I was living that whole day with them. In real time. It drug on so long.
Yeah, and I made a note. The movie is 2 hours and 9 minutes. It felt like 2 hours and 9 minutes.
I felt all 2 hours of it.
I feel like they could have cut down like those interview sections completely unnecessary.
Disagree.
Really?
Disagree. I wanted more of those interviews, and I wanted them to go for slightly longer, 30 seconds a minute longer. I wanted more of them because
I didn't like the interviews at all.
They chopped up the monotony of the waiting, and I liked one of my notes, the rapport between Denzel and Chiwetel. His partner. I can't say his last name, but
it's like I4 or something.
I4, whatever.
Yeah.
But Denzel and his partner Mitchell. Yeah. I love their rapport.
Really good.
It's so good. They're so natural. The back and forth. They're hilarious. And that's equally funny.
That's something I've noticed in a lot of Denzel's movies. When he's got a character that he can inject an element of casuality or casualness, he's really good at that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about how he was in Philadelphia. I'm also thinking about how he was in Deja Vu. And he's really good at being a staunch, hard ass when he has to be, but he's really good at playing the casual role too.
Have you ever seen Training Day?
No, I did. Yes.
Yeah. He's got.
I didn't care for the movie, but I saw it.
Oh man, I love that movie. But Denzel has this ability to bring his supporting cast up to his level.
I agree.
He's just got that kind of rapport with anybody he shares a scene with.
Yeah, I agree.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But those interview scenes, I love them. I wanted more of them because they chopped up the monotony of the waiting.
I'll give you that. I didn't, but I still didn't care for them, and I totally hated. And I know it just sounds like we're shitting on the movie, but
I like the movie. I did. I swear.
I did too. I hated the super ridiculous high contrast look of the interview scenes. Where they jack the contrast up. I get it. It's a contrasting section, where we're going between the action that's happening and then this high contrast looking police thing. I hated the look of it. It completely obliterated being able to see any of the pictures on the when they were looking at the pictures of the various people.
The mugshots, Polaroids or whatever,
the faces or anything. They were just blotted out because they were blown out. It was so bright. So I hated those interview scenes completely.
I was fine with the contrast as an artistic choice.
It was way too much.
We didn't need to see... what I took away from that is that it doesn't matter what the photographs look like. It doesn't matter. What matters is the conversation that they're having, that Denzel and Mitchell are having with the interviewees. Mm-hmm. The contrast was, I agree, a little jarring. They probably could have toned it down.
Yeah.
But I was fine with it because it conveyed to me that this is a different time, a different place. I liked it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
Yeah.
But I liked it, and I wanted more of it, of just the interviews themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. The action sequence, the fake action sequence they had with the police storming the bank as they were walking through. This is what we're going to do. We're going to storm the bank.
Yeah.
We're going to, if they're on the stairs, we're going to go up the stairs. If there's no explosives, we're going downstairs. We're going to take them out in the bank vault itself. We're going to try to minimize casualties, but there might be casualties. Everybody's dressed the same. I needed that. I needed that so badly because at that point, the interviews seemed to have died down a little bit, and it had just drug on and on. I needed that so badly, and I think I read that. I wrote this note down. I read on IMDb that Spike, that wasn't in the original script. Spike put that in there because he needed an action scene, and thank you, Spike.
Yeah,
just bring some action. Get my blood pumping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, I think that's really about all that I have. I'm just looking at my notes really quick, and I mean, I have some number-specific things which I'd like to get into when we do the numbers. But
I've got one more thing for you.
Yeah, no, actually, I have one more thing too. But go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so this is more of just a general thing, but I think this plot is plausible. But how likely do you think it would work? You know, someone, and, you know, spoiler alert, whatever, you know, someone breaks into a big bank, goes into a bottom floor storage room, builds a false wall in the back of the storage room, lives behind the false wall for a week, and then just walks out the front door. How plausible do you think this is?
Well, not very, and for a few reasons. The first reason is they would not have time to execute it. I think that when this happened, it was in the middle of the day of a Friday, and it went all the way through the night, all the way into the next day. It was middle of the day when this finally resolved. Right. Food was brought in and out. They released a couple hostages here and there. There's some stall tactics, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that it would have lasted this long, especially in New York.
Yeah.
Especially in a bank this fancy. Yeah. This is a fancy-ass bank.
It is fancy-ass bank.
A fancy-ass bank. I don't think it would have lasted this long, especially considering the players involved, the chairman of the board, this powerful banker, the Jodie Foster character. These were glass doors also. I don't think it would have lasted this long. I think that the police would have stormed the bank much sooner than that. Yeah. So there's that aspect of it. Let's say, for the sake of the conversation, that it does last this long, and these guys do manage to build a false wall in the back, shift all of the shelving forward or back or whatever they need to do to build this false wall so this guy can live in this cramped area. When he lives there for a week, this is based off the premise that storage room is there, and that the storage room leads out to a hall that goes past a security gate where the security guard is.
Right.
And goes directly to a staircase that goes up that seems to be only accessible to employees. This guy walks up those stairs and out of an employees-only area, unimpeded by security.
Right.
After a week before this major robbery went down, or it's a major thing goes down.
Yeah.
Heightened security cameras. If you notice, he walked past, as he walked up the stairs, he walked past two people. Both of them gave him funny looks. The woman coming down the stairs looked back and who the fuck is this disheveled-looking motherfucker with two big a backpack and a big duffel bag?
Yeah.
The alarm would have been raised. A bank robbery happened here a week ago.
Well, yeah, that, and not to mention, he was living in this tiny crevice, this tiny space behind the rear false wall, and he had a hole that he would shit into. So he was going to smell awful.
That whole storage room was going to smell awful.
Right. So that would have given him away after the second or third day.
Yeah.
And he supposedly spent a week in there.
Now, again, for the sake of the conversation, let's say he packed a bunch of air fresheners. He popped one each day and threw it down in the shithole just to try to mask it.
Maybe off camera there were a bunch of those little trees that people hang in their cars.
Yeah. He brought some Axe body spray and sprayed himself down.
Yeah,
like a true bro.
Yeah.
But it sounds plausible on paper. I just don't see the execution being successful in real life.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe it because fuck yeah, Clive Owen.
Yeah.
But
and Spike Lee.
I just don't, fuck yeah, Spike Lee. I just don't see it happening in real life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was about all I had. Did you had something else you said?
One thing.
Yeah.
That riddle.
What riddle?
The riddle where he calls him up and he says, tell me how...
Oh, what weighs more?
What weighs more? Trains going through Central Station or all of the currency printed on paper, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Like, it was weird. It felt forced. Like, it was shoehorned in there. I didn't...
Yeah, because Clive Owen's character did not seem like the riddling type.
No. It did seem out of character. I didn't see it. I didn't consider it as being out of character. I considered it as like a weird inserted scene that seemed like a waste of time. Like it seemed unnecessary, completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
He was already stalling them with the buses and the jets. Like
right.
we didn't need that. But
right.
yeah, it's now that you mention it, seemed out of character as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. So, ultimately, before we get into numbers, would you recommend the movie? I definitely would.
I would. Now, granted...
I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah, granted my my score coming up, like, I would say that this is a movie worth watching. I don't think that it's a good party movie. It might be good to watch with a friend or two.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it's worth watching.
It's worth watching at least once.
Yeah.
So that being said, let's do some numbers. And by numbers, we're talking about those that you would see on our leaderboard, which you would see on our website, which is casualmovieclub.com. And then when you click on the top where it says leaderboard, you'll see things, you'll see the numbers of how we scored all the other movies that we have done. So we have 6 criteria. Number 1 being acting. How well did the actors convey the story? How believable were they? Number 2, the script. How well was the dialogue written? What was the quality of the script, the story itself? Number 3, presentation. The editing and visual effects usage. Too much green screen, or was it too many cuts or anything like that? The visual aspect of things. Then the music and sound, the goodies for your ears. The soundtrack as a whole, the sound effects, the score, the music, the voices, the mix, all that good stuff that you hear and don't see. The uniqueness, has this type of movie been done before based on the year it came out or years before it? This doesn't count for movies that came out after that may be similar to it, but movies that came out the year that the movie was released or earlier. And then the engagement factor. Did this movie keep you engaged, or would you rather be weeding Twitter? So on that note, why don't we start with you, Brian? Where are you standing as far as acting goes for Inside Man?
Well, we've discussed a little bit of this earlier. I think that Denzel had the most solid performance. I liked Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster and Dem Legs. Whew. Whew. Love Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
And I loved her performance also. She came across as the perfect snooty, smarmy...
snooty and smarmy completely.
Yeah. She did what she was supposed to do. I'm not going to beat this over the head. We kind of discussed this already. My acting score is a 3.
3? Okay. Cool. Well, I'm very similar in that regard. So I'm giving the acting a 3.5, mainly because I want to give a little more points for the chemistry that was there. Because I think apart from the damn mayor, I think the chemistry between Denzel and his partner was great. The chemistry between Denzel and Jodie Foster was great. The chemistry between Willem Dafoe and Denzel and everybody was really good. I think that there was a really good working chemistry amongst everybody. The mayor sucked, and I think I might even wind up doing a take backsies at some point, but I'm kind of going a little higher just for the chemistry factor. I'm going to say 3.25 for acting. Now, let me ask you this. This is kind of an aside. Does it count as a take backsies if I change my number before we go to another one? Or like if we go through script and presentation, music and sound, then I'm like, no, I want to change my acting. That's a take backsies.
I mean, our numbers are locked in before we start the episode. So right. If you say your number and then you decide you want to go back and take backsies it, then you've done your take backsies.
Fair enough. Okay. So, script. So, the quality of the writing of the script, I think overall was pretty good. Nothing about it offended me. Nothing about it stood out to me. I liked the storyline. I think there was certainly some element of uniqueness to it. But again, nothing blew me out of the water. I'm just going to say it was 3.25.
3.25.
Yep.
Okay. For me, script, I've gone through this with you. My gripes are the lack of character development.
Yeah.
I love the twist. I love the fact that they put Clive Owen in that back room. I love how they all tried to escape. Well, they all did escape. I love that, but it didn't have that oomph for me. It just didn't really do it for me, just because it felt underdeveloped. And for that, I'm going to give the script a 3 even.
Okay. I respect that. And then while you're on the hot seat, presentation. What did you think of the visual element of things?
Presentation I loved. The Spike Lee has a very definitive style. It's if you're familiar with Spike Lee's work, you can spot his little touches on it. And I love what he does. He's a great director. He's one of the best directors. I loved that he's got this signature shot that he does with Denzel and Malcolm X. Have you ever seen Malcolm X?
No.
Oh man, there's a scene where so remember when in Inside Man where they shot the quote unquote hostage.
Right.
And then Denzel was just like beside himself, and he looked like he was moving forward without really walking.
Yes.
That's a Spike Lee signature shot.
Okay.
And it's things like that. The shots up from the bottom, of the floor up shots, kind of the angle shots that he does. Yep. I love that camera work that he does.
Yeah.
Presentation for me is a 4.
Okay.
I like it a lot. I like Spike Lee's. I like Spike Lee.
Cool.
What can I say?
I respect that. So my presentation is going to be a 3.75 because I'm taking points off for the ridiculous use of contrast during the interview scene. I also, and I was going back and forth between this during the movie because I really liked during the opening sequence, with that song playing and everything, all those shots of New York and those camera angles and everything. I really liked that compilation, but I was just so thrown off by that ridiculous high contrast look of the interview scene. So it's a 3.75 for presentation for me. Music and sound, I really didn't have. It was fine. I didn't have any complaints about it. 3.5 for me for music and sound. I could probably even just go with a 3, but 3.5 because it sounded fine. Nothing blew me out of the water.
Sure. I
did like the intro music, that Chanya thing. That was cool.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that sound. I didn't like that song, and I didn't like that opening sequence.
Oh wow!
The shots in I appreciate the shots in New York.
Yeah,
but I think it went on too long. It was too much of a build up. I understand they have to show the opening credits, and that's the best way to convey that we're in New York. We're following this van as it's going towards its destination. It's picking up members of the party and blah blah blah. But it wasn't. I didn't care for it.
Okay.
The music and sound, I'm with you on that. Also, it felt very New York copish. The music and sound felt very much of its time, of its era. Like where it's almost reverential to the first responders, the firefighters, the police that were there. And it really is distinctive kind of sound. Yeah. All in all, though, unimpressed with it. Nothing really blew me away. I did notice all of the score as it happened, though. Yeah. And that was mainly because I was just looking for any redeeming qualities as the plot just drug itself along. Music and sound 3.5.
Cool. And I want to add to my 3.5-ness before you do your uniqueness, but I liked the funky side of it. It was pretty funky.
I appreciate that, yeah.
Yeah. So, uniqueness. What did you think of the uniqueness factor?
Now, granted, the twist was unique. The resolution was fairly unique in that Denzel was promoted, and through his promotion, because of the access he gave Jodie Foster, he was able to even do more. But at the end of the day, this is a bank robbery movie. I've seen a ton of bank robbery movies. I know Heat came out around this time, if not sooner than that, and you could see some of the influences there. A few famous bank robbery movies were referenced. A Dog Day Afternoon was referenced a couple of times. There's a couple of Serpico references in there. So this is while a movie that is unique in its own right because of the resolution, the twists, and such as that is. It's not a wholly unique movie, so I would give it a 3 even.
You know, my uniqueness factor is exactly the same. You know, it's a 3 as well, because you're right. It's a bank robbery movie, and we've seen so many of those. Mm-hmm. And
Italian Job.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and there are little bits in there that make it its own thing, like the whole, Clive Owen living in the bank for 7 days, mm-hmm. or how they dealt with, giving everybody the mask and the jumpsuit to wear, like there's little tiny things, but I don't think it's strong enough to take it away from just being a middle of the road, like it's a bank robbery movie.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's weird because I kind of want to give a little bit of a nod to the plot, saying that it's a bank robbery movie, that they didn't take the money. It was a bank robbery movie because they were going in there to target this, Nazi sympathizers' history. Right. So it was not a money heist, it was a information heist kind of thing.
Yeah, they did take his diamonds though.
They did. And his documents. Mm-hmm. And the documents. I'm going to take backsies, jump my uniqueness up to a 3.25 just for that reason.
Okay. While you're on your take backsies,
yeah.
I think I'm gonna up my 3 score to a 3.5 for acting.
Okay.
Because I've been sitting here ruminating between our scores on the Denzel and how the Denzel and how he brings up everyone around him.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I feel better as a 3.5 for acting.
Okay. Cool. And then is it me for engagement or you?
I'll go for engagement.
Go ahead.
I love this movie. I've seen it a couple times, but I just was not engaged. It was a slog to get through this. And when the plot really started moving, that's when I was engaged. When the cops were fake storming the bank, that's when I was engaged. In the very beginning, I was engaged. When they set everything up, when they were putting the hostages in the painters' outfits.
Yeah.
At the end, when Denzel was cleaning the house, I was engaged. But everything in the middle, I was not. I give engagement factor a 2.
You're not going to believe this.
No.
My engagement factor is also a 2.
Wow.
Yeah, because for the exact same reasons, because there were points where I was really into it and I was like, awesome, so these guys are coming in, they're going to rob the bank, it's going to be really interesting, and then the story would just like go into park and the story would just stop, or like we would be crawling along in traffic, Yeah. And then something would happen, things would pick up, and now Jodie Foster's character shows up, she shakes things up a little bit, what's going to happen? Then we just slow down again. So like this movie is a traffic jam.
Yeah, that's a good take.
So the numbers look really interesting, I have to say. This is
a 2 hour and 9 minute movie
that could easily be less than 2 hours if they do a little bit better with the editing.
We could do an hour and a half. We really could do an hour and a half.
Yeah. In fact, I would love to see an hour and a half cut version of this movie, because I bet it flows a lot better. And we may not lose as much of the story as some might think.
I mean, we're sure not going to gain anything from Clive, the backstories and character development.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at Brian just shrugging.
I like this movie. I like how it turns out. It's been years since I've seen it, and it's I feel like this story deserves better.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a better director, a more capable director than Spike. I just don't know where this went off the rails.
Yeah.
Did you just check out where it's going to land on the leaderboard?
It's funny where it's going to land.
No! Okay.
It is really funny where it's going to land. So,
okay.
Are the numbers in? Well, we both used our take backseat, so the numbers are in.
The numbers are in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the numbers go a little something like this.
Oh, I'm
this
nervous.
Is for Inside Man. I almost said Stranger Things. I don't know why. Inside Man, Clive Owen, Denzel Washington. Acting 3.38, script 3.13, presentation 3.88, music and sound 3.50, uniqueness 3.13, engagement factor 2,
Whew.
Total average 3.17.
Oh, no!
Putting it just above Wild West, but below the Human Centipede.
No way!
So the Human Centipede has beaten Spike Lee.
Hey, engagement is engagement.
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. So
Shit.
seeing a mad scientist sew 3 people mouth to ass is more engaging than a Spike Lee joint.
Well, this Spike Lee joint. There are other Spike Lee joints. If we if we watch Do the Right Thing,
right.
I would be angry.
Is Philadelphia a Spike Lee joint?
It's not.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I know that for certain.
Okay. But, so yeah, you've heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
Whew.
The Human Centipede, apparently, is a better movie than Inside Man.
I wouldn't say a better movie.
The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. The numbers tell very strange tales, but they don't lie.
I have to accept it. I have to accept it.
Yeah. So next week, so let's talk. So
next week's your surprise movie,
right,
isn't it?
So next week is going to be interesting because next week is our final episode of this season of the Casual Movie Club.
Just a season. We're coming back.
We're coming back, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to take August off. So you're not going to have any new episodes during the month of August. So we want you guys to enjoy the summer, enjoy each other, enjoy hanging around, watching movies of your own. If you want to tell us about the movies that you were watching during the month of August, because it's probably going to rain every now and then. You know. It is the summer, so you got to get out there, have some fun, go to the beach, go to the lake, go to the ocean, whatever you can do. Enjoy the summer, enjoy your friends and family. But on the days when it rains, watch some movies. Tell us what you're watching. Tweet us on Twitter or Instagram us at Casual Movie Club. You can email us, casualmovieclub@hotmail.com. You can call us and leave us a message or text us at 402-882-2742. It's not a live number, so we will not pick up and randomly put you on the spot, or will we? No, I'm just kidding. We won't.
No, we won't.
But, reach out to us. Tell us what you guys are up to in the month of August. We are going to take the month of August off to do things that people do in the month of August. I don't know. But we are going to be back with season 4 of the Casual Movie Club in September. So whatever that first Thursday in September, you guys are going to get the first episode from us in September. And so next week's going to be a surprise episode for the final episode of season 3. Then it's going to be, I guess, we'll just surprise you again, right?
Yeah. Do you have any surprise? Do you have any hints for your surprise episode?
Nope. Not a one.
Let me ask you this: do you know what it is?
I've narrowed it down to a few. Yes.
Narrowed it down to a few. Okay.
Yeah. So you guys are going to get a double dose of surprise because Brian's going to get a dose of Brian, and you guys will get a dose of surprise for next week, and then all of you will get a dose of surprise for September when we come back with our new content there. But for the month of August, I hope you guys have a wonderful month, a wonderful time, have lots of fun. Tell us what you guys are up to. Even if you're not watching movies, even if you're hanging out at the lake, whatever, tweet us, hashtag us, mention us, all that good stuff. We definitely want to hear what you guys are up to. You can also take the month of August to decide how much you want to support us on Patreon. You can go to our website, casualmovieclub.com, click on the Patreon button, and you can donate as little as $1 a month, but that will help us keep the podcast going, keep the lights on, keep the microphones recording, and keep the various sites hosting our podcast, places like Apple Podcasts and Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Radio Public. We now have links to all of those, including Radio Public, on the bottom of all the pages of our website, as well as the main page, casualmovieclub.com. Have I forgotten anything?
You have not. You are very thorough.
I feel like I just went on a roll.
You did.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week for Casual Movie Club episode number 34, the final episode of the Casual Movie Club. We're going to do a movie called, I don't know yet, but after that, we'll see you in September. But we'll see you next week, and you guys have a fabulous week.
See ya.